Hey guys, thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And I hope you enjoyed this interview. All right, welcome back to the program. Joining me right now is my guest, whom I introduced earlier. He's Raymond Dokpesi Jr., the Chairman, Board of Directors, Daar Communications, PLC. Hello.
Hello and good morning, Nancy.
Good
It's a
morning.
pleasure to be here again.
Yes, likewise. Good to have you. Let's get started. And let's go back a bit. 15 months since the passing of the founder. How has the company been holding up? How have you guys been doing? How is everything? 15 months.
Well, it has been a challenging 15 months for most of us at the organization. We all had a very close bond with the founder. This doesn't just apply to me as his son, it applies to the entire board management staff of Daar Communications. We all know High Chief Raymond Dokpesi was very much one of those who promoted this concept of the Daar family, which didn't necessarily discriminate between his personal life and his professional life. So for all of us, it has been very difficult. Having said that, we had also tried to recognize that without the founder and without the High Chief, definitely we cannot continue doing business as normal. His influence, his contributions to our regular operations and to our operations as a company might not have been direct in terms of day-to-day involvement, but he was always there, he was always accessible, he was always pushing and promoting the very best interests of the organization. So certainly we have had some challenges without him. Challenges with regards to guidance, challenges with regards to where there are certain kinds of, I wouldn't say disputes, but differences of opinion in which way to go. That father figure who would always be able to sit and be an intermediary in giving guidance and direction is no longer there. But it simply means that we have to refocus our energies into building an institution that lasts. So Daar is not just a family business, it is a PLC. And we have to be cognizant of the fact that with or without a founder, the expectation of the shareholders will be that requisite transition plans are in place, succession plans are in place, and the impact of his demise and exits will not be so profoundly felt. So we have tried as much as possible to show up in a number of areas with respect to contacts, with respect to finance, with respect to just general goodwill brokers who can do things for our organization, to be able to bring everyone on board and have some kind of plan going forward as to how we want to move. So, yeah.
Why do you think that speculation was there? Because it was brewing for a few days before a press statement was out from the company in terms of Daar's executive management, 10 people at a swoop, speculations as to perhaps their, infighting. When you were talking, I put it down, you said difference in opinions, of course, succession planning. The founder was a towering figure. Where there were difference of opinions, he came up with, that fatherly figure to put perspectives right and helped the company in many ways. How would you address this?
Well, you see, Nancy, there is no organization. In fact, you cannot have 2 or 3 people sit together and not have differences of opinion. I sit down at home with my wife and children, and we have differences of opinion. So for an organization as big and as complex as Daar Communications, there are definitely going to be people who have different visions or different perspectives as to how the organization needs to move or progress. What I always say is that there can only be one captain in a ship. It is a recipe for disaster to have multiple persons pushing and promoting divergent agendas when what is required is some level of stability and congruence in effort and pursuit of set goals and objectives. So it is not so much a function of internal disputes or this or that, but those kinds of scenarios and those kinds of situations must definitely arise. If the High Chief was present, with one glance of his, he just look at you one way and you kind of know this matter should not be pushed a little bit further, or we should continue engaging on it. But without his presence, everybody, is much more proactive in projecting and articulating what it is that they want. And there is absolutely nothing wrong with that. Of course, in the course of making decisions, not everybody is going to be satisfied with the eventual outcome, with the eventual decisions. I expect the case of letting people go at this particular time would be just one of those kinds of scenarios. But like has been already noted in our press release to the NGX and in a number of other interviews that I've given, we are primarily a PLC and we are governed by our own internal code of internal policies and control manual, as well as other extant rules and regulations of the Securities and Exchange Commission, as well as the Nigerian Stock Exchange. So in the context of that, there are issues of compliance, there are issues of disclosures. The decision whether to retire or not to retire had been taken much, much earlier in the year by the board. It is only in the last few days, perhaps, that notices finally went out, notices were accepted. And the process of this, I guess, maybe one of the parties might have leaked something somewhere to an online platform. And that essentially gave rise to the need for the company to officially come out and clear the air and publicly confirm the speculation that, in fact, this is a decision that has already been made and it's at a stage of implementation. So I guess it's how the omelet's cracked, but it isn't really a issue or a concern within the board or within the management internally. Everyone does recognize that the office is not one that you retire into in your very, very old age. People have occupied certain offices in excess of 15, 20, 25 years in certain cases. And that has also meant that there's stagnation within the organization. There are people whom will ordinarily have been given opportunities to grow, but because their own superiors are not either leaving or growing either, they've been stagnated in one position for 12, 13 years. They came in as NYSC coppers, today they are married with 2 or 3 children, and they are not able to progress within their professional development. So there are all sorts and all gamuts of considerations which were taken into this consideration. And to suggest that it is only an outcome of maybe some internal disagreements, no, that is not the case.
Let's go back again, because you have a very huge task. Chairman, Board of Directors, Daar Communications PLC. How long have you been chairman now?
Well, I was appointed.
Because I know you were appointed when your
I was appointed
father
December
was
2014.
Oh, December 2014.
Actually, November 31st, 2014.
2014. So that's
Correct.
like 10 years now?
It's going to be 10 years now.
Okay. So that means your tenure 2 will soon be up.
Correct.
Okay. Where I'm actually going with that question is because to have a founder of such a nature, late High Chief, with a towering figure, how has it been? Because I've been hearing you, Claire. How has it been in terms of galvanizing members of the board? From what you're saying now, you have new ideas. People that have been there for 20, 25 years shouldn't be there anymore for people to grow. How has it been for you in terms of bringing everyone together with that unity of purpose?
Well, you see, the reality of the matter is that I have to be extremely grateful and thankful to members of the board and indeed members of management, the entire staff of Daar Communications. Everyone has been very understanding. Everyone has been very helpful. It was a very early resolution, nearly immediately following the transition of our late chairman. There are a number of members of board and members of management committed that whatever needs to be done for this organization to move forward, the visions, the dreams, the plans that the founder had. Whatever has impeded it from being actualized, if they are part of the obstacles, knowingly or unknowingly, everybody is ready to make that personal sacrifice for these goals and objectives to be achieved. And so in that context, everyone has understood that there is nothing personal in any of the decisions that are being taken. Everyone has understood that where we are as an organization, there might be a case for us to review and look at how do we raise new capital for the organization. And essentially, going into those kinds of discussion, who seeks equity has to come with clean hands. You cannot say you're going to do a capital raise where investors or the market lacks confidence in your capacity and ability to actually carry out or execute on your own rules. So if you say that our management or our leadership is going to spend maximum of 2 tenures or 5 years, and then they are looking at our books and they're seeing certain people have been there 17 years, certain people have been there 22 years, and they're asking, how come you have not been able to transition? Are we just putting in money for a family, or what is it exactly that we are doing? It raises the need for a little bit more transparency. It raises the need for us to also do the needful as far as the rules are concerned. And it's not really so much of a strict rule by the markets, but we have submitted to the markets that these are our own rules and we have to live up to them.
Okay. Let's take a look at 10 management staff, isn't it, that will, that will be exiting?
Yeah.
How are you planning, how is the board planning a succession? Because that's so much to leave in one swoop.
Yes.
Who are those that are going to take over from them? Because there's a potential risk. In fact, there's a risk there in terms of institutional memory.
Of course.
You know, so how is the board going to handle that?
Well, so I think twofold. On the one hand, we have, I would say, very competent deputies who are able to come in and step in. They've been doing this, supporting their EDs and MDs for quite a while now. In as much as our EDs and MDs have been present, they also go on vacations, they also go on leave, they also fall sick, and the job doesn't stop. The work actually goes on. So we have a lot of confidence in the next in-line succession, that they will be able to come in and step up.
Are you ready for that as at November, for them to take over?
But yes, but we are also...
Would they be designated
we are
or would
also,
they be appointed as substantial?
No, not substantial. I mean, it's a transitionary period. The reality of the matter is that we are still going to advertise a number of positions, internally and externally. We will be looking at headhunting, we will be looking at recruiting, and generally the entire structure of the organization. We're going to be looking at how to rejig it. But these are things which are done systematically. They are things which are done. The first and most important thing is to have the right team in place first. And then we can then look at how do we unbundle the opportunities and the challenges that we have before us as an organization.
What are you thinking about? What's the board thinking about?
Sorry,
Yes.
one last thing, because you also mentioned institutional memory,
Yes, institutional memory.
and that doesn't just quite address it. The other aspect of it is that the board also in its wisdom has decided that in as much as people are retired or people are retiring, it doesn't just mean that everyone is going and they don't have any further relationship with Daar Communications.
Would they be giving new roles?
We are contemplating giving some critical members contract roles. So essentially, they are not here day to day with us, but they are here assets when required and needed to support the organization in any particular area.
Okay. Now, I wanted to ask shareholders' value.
Mm-hmm.
Yesterday, Daar Communications PLC's stock ended at 43 kobo.
Mm-hmm.
How are you thinking? When I mean you, I mean the board, because definitely you have board of directors. How is the board thinking about giving shareholders more value? Because Daar Communications PLC has been declaring losses. Of course, I know what has been happening. The environment has been a bit hostile, at least even in the last 8 years. Yeah, I think in the last 9 years, even the general business environment has not even been too friendly to even media organizations, not just DACOMs, because of course, we see the advent of new media and all of that. So traditional media is also trying to catch up. When I mean traditional media, both even TV, broadcasting, and even print. So how is the board thinking about improving shareholders' value? That's one. Number two, do you think that perhaps this is a bit sudden? Why I'm saying sudden, even though you said that it's been in the offing a while, but perhaps someone leaked it out there for this furore to be on. It's a bit sudden to even shareholders to hear and all of that. How do you think that this will impact Daar Communications PLC as a going concern in terms of confidence from the public, in terms of confidence to even raise new capital? Because I heard you clearly. In terms of confidence in raising new capital to be able to build the company.
Well, Nancy, first and foremost, as far as the valuation of the stock is concerned, there is no gainsaying that a lot of the shareholder value has been eroded. The stock price has collapsed from the price at which we listed. But whilst we take some level of responsibility, we also have to recognize that we are not alone. A number of other companies which listed around that time, when you look at the value of their shares today, they have also collapsed. I recall I participated in Zenith Bank when they issued their company stock. What price did we buy it at, and what price is it today? So this is a general trend which is reflective of the direction in which the Nigerian capital market and the Nigerian economy has headed. For us as an organization, definitely we will not just say, oh, it is external factors. We have to be creative within. We have to be innovative. We have to be able to see what the challenges are, mitigate against them. We have to be nimble as an organization to address emerging opportunities and deal with threats as they arise. But how effectively and efficiently have we done that as an organization? I think we have done fairly well, given the challenges that we have been confronted with, as well as, like you mentioned, particularly in the past 8-9 years. Let me say a particular period between 2015 and 2023 were particularly challenging for this organization. That we have been able to come through that phase and come through that period with our head above water. I think kudos is due to the management and to the board for being able to navigate through these difficult times. But at the same time, we also have to be able to grow out of that position. We do have very, very aggressive ambitions for the market, and we need to be able to position ourselves accordingly. And essentially, that's where we are going.
Have you communicated, has the board communicated with the regulators? Regulators in the case of SEC, yes, as well as the NGX, because I also do know, this is what I do every day, so I know the procedure. I know that, of course, even the NGX and even SEC will be concerned, and they may have asked, I don't know if they have asked questions, but of course I know that the kind of SEC we have now, or the kind of SEC we've even had in the past few years, once there's something like this, they always ask for feedback. So I don't know if you have communicated with them, because I assume that they'll be asking questions.
Well, we are in constant engagement with all our regulators this Monday. That is what I'll say.
Okay. How about the impact of this restructuring in terms of if these people, this 10 or so are leaving, what are the issues on ground in terms of perhaps compensation? You know, because these are high executives, the monies that they will pay to them, that would also impact the bottom line of the company. How is the company going to handle that?
Well, I mean, in terms of compensation, what we are really talking about is their exit costs, their gratuities, their severance packages.
There should be pensions too.
Well, yes, but the pensions doesn't go directly to them. The pension goes to the pension companies.
Okay, yeah. But
why I'm saying this is essentially those other line items have already been factored in the company's profit and loss. It's a question of cash flow for the organization to be able to meet this expenditures as and when they arise. And as a board, we have already taken decisions and we have already given approvals to the management for how best to source these funds from existing operations, as well as other means if the need should arise. So we are confident that we'll be able to meet our obligations to the exiting staff, and that shouldn't be a worry or concern at all.
Are you giving the company, is the board giving the company a transitional phase? Because it's such, I've seen companies that, of course, management team leaves, or a few of the management board of directors, some of the directors or high executives leave, or even when the company's founders or MDs, pass on and all of that. A few have struggled. What do you think is the transitional phase from now or from November till when? Perhaps that Daar Comms PLC may begin to find its way. I hope you understand what I'm trying to say. Yes, in terms of transitional phase, new people are going to come on board and all of that.
Well, I mean, new people are definitely going to come on board. Also, existing people within the system are going to be promoted. I think leadership is critical in managing change and managing transitions. In any transition like this, we are looking for transitional leaders. And to a very large extent, we have to find those leaders within our own structures and within our own company. We have a board corporate governance committee which is tasked with dealing with these issues. I'm not going to jump the gun and make statements about the work that they are doing and the efforts they are putting in. But I would want to definitely assure our stakeholders, our regulators, our shareholders, and indeed our existing members of management and staff that all these considerations have duly been taken into cognizance. Even before the final decision on retirement and things were taken, one of the most recent assignments that we had been working with management has been the review of our operations over the past 15, 20 years and recommending strategies on how to streamline operations and improve productivity and efficiency going forward. So we have a lot of the institutional knowledge residing with us as to how best to move things forward. What we really need is an execution team who will not just talk about what needs to be done, but to be ready to fold their sleeves and get their hands dirty and actually do the job.
Will the organizational structure change? Since you said that they've been there for a while, as they're leaving, is the company thinking about changing its organizational structure so perhaps others too can grow across on the ranks? That's one. The second question is, how involved will the family be in this business right now since the demise of the founder? How involved will the family be? You are the chairman. From what he told me, your tenure will be will elapse soon. If your tenure elapses, what will you be doing? How involved will the family be?
Well,
because it's also a PLC, but
yeah.
it's also, founded. The company was founded by your dad.
Of course. I mean, taking the questions from the back, just like other members of executive management have their tenures coming up, so too will members of the board have their tenures come up. In fact, some have already come up. But we have to do things in phases. We have to oversee this phase of transition. We cannot just take everybody out who has any kind of institutional memory and just bring in new people to run the show. So definitely, as far as the tenures of board members is concerned, that is going to be the next board agenda issue immediately after we conclude with this transition of the executive management. I myself do not expect myself to stay in this role forever. I enjoy the role, but I'm not looking forward to also doing this for the rest of my life.
Enjoy the role.
So I'm also cognizant of the fact that my time is coming up, and I also have to look how best will I be able to contribute to this organization, either from inside the organization or from outside the organization. But no firm decision has been made on that. In fact, beyond casual mentions and acknowledging the fact that this is a reality we're going to have to contend with in the not too distant future, it has not properly been discussed or addressed. And so I don't want to make statements on national television when other stakeholders need to be duly informed of certain issues. You mentioned about the restructuring and structure of the company. Yes, there are a number of things which are being considered, but nothing has been approved as yet. As it's when approvals are given for those restructuring plans, we will definitely communicate to the market, to our regulators, to you as well, and our audiences.
So how involved would the family be? You've not spoken to me about that.
Well,
are there other members? Are there other members of your siblings?
Daar Communications PLC still
you know why I'm asking?
Has
your stepmom,
yeah, is still significantly controlled
MD, yeah.
by Daar Investments. Daar Investments principally consists of the family holdings and its board and its directors. So Daar Investments has its own board, it has its own governance structures and its own decision making. Daar Investments would probably be making nominations in the absence of me stepping down for whom could possibly replace my position. Or as a director in the board, the actual chairmanship of the board is a discussion between directors. So Daar Investments will definitely make nominations. The question you are asking with respect to the MD of AIT, Dr. Raymond Dokpesi, definitely we value and treasure Dr. Tosin. We cannot just wish her away as the case may be, or as some news reports.
Because
I've tried to portray that.
Because she's family.
She is family, but at the same time, we cannot create special conditions for family when other people have the same issues. She has been there for a tenure. She needs to live like everyone else. We cannot just make an exception for her. But then, of course, looking within the broader context of the organization, both within Daar Investments and Daar Communications, we have had some early discussions. It's not like the decision took her by surprise. She was aware of this decision coming forward. But we need to restructure the organization first, and then identify if and where she'll be able to come in.
Okay, just as we end, because we have like 2 minutes to the end. I don't know, time is fast spent. Okay, director is saying 1 minute. I would like you to address, is there a rift in the family?
Not at all.
Because, you know, I read some of the interviews you also gave, that there's an insinuation that, oh, there are rifts, or Raymond Jr. Dokpesi has taken decisions to sack everybody. Is your decision that you are giving to the board? No, but you don't listen to anybody and all of that. So is there a rift?
Well, first and foremost, I'm one member in a 7-man board. And even though I have influence on that board, I don't think that the kind of board members that we have are the type to be cowed into taking a position they do not believe in. So definitely I can completely dispel that aspect. From the position of the family, definitely there are those within the family who feel, look, your dad passed just a year ago. She's your dad's wife. She's a Yoruba woman. This is a Yoruba government.
Are you kidding?
It is better for you to keep her and hold her close to you.
Oh, those kind of sentiments are there?
Those kinds of sentiments definitely will come in and will definitely be expressed. And it is not that they are wrong. It is not that I disagree with them. But what is the alternative? Will it be better for me to say to members of executive management, to the market, that we have 10 people who have exceeded their tenures, 9 have to go because they are not Dokpesis, but we are retaining 1. It doesn't make sense. That's not the kind of organization we're trying to lead. So we just had to bite the bullet, take the criticisms as they will come. Certainly it is not a rift. Certainly it is something which we are in discussions with, and we'll continue to discuss and engage, and we'll find a solution as a family. We put God and family before business. So I'm sure we'll find the right solution for all of us.
Okay, finally, I know I said finally, what should viewers be looking out for? Because actually this is a business. The first private broadcast, you're there, I call Daar Communications an ancestor, as it were, perhaps of 90. You know, what should viewers be expecting? Very quickly.
Well, again, I think we need to refresh and rebrand most of our stations. So be it Ray Power, be it AIT, be it the relaunch of AIT News. We have done a lot of things very well over the past 20, 25 years, but at the same time, the industry has also moved forward in leaps and bounds, and we need to be able to catch up. There's a lot more emphasis on social media and digital media. There's also a rising youthful demographic, which we are not necessarily capturing or communicating to. Just yesterday, some representatives of NANS came to see me and to congratulate me, and also give me an award. And they were speaking about their views on the issues of the student's loan, as it happens, that their perception is that that loan will mortgage their future. If the government is guaranteeing them loans, are they also going to guarantee them jobs to pay back those loans after they are finished? So, I mean, there is a huge demographic whose issues are not necessarily being treated with sufficient time and care. And that is an imbalance which we will also need to be able to address.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for coming. I've been speaking with the Chairman Board of Directors of Daar Communications PLC, Raymond Dokpesi Jr., explaining the recent restructuring at Daar Communications PLC. Thank you all for your time and company this week. As always, please join us again next week. Monday, God willing, I'll be here with a fresh perspective, another guest, another topic. Be the best you can be. I'm going to change that you want to see. I am Nancy Nnaji. Bye now. Thank you for watching. In case this is your first time watching us, thank you. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, drop your comments as well as like, and most of all, share our content. Bye.